Colouring books are incredibly popular on Amazon. And one such example, which I'm going to show you today, is this one here, which is selling very well. It's got a bestsellers rank of 1,772, which means it's making somewhere between $5,500 to $11,500 per month in royalties. And that's probably a bit of an underestimate. But these types of book, or this particular type of colouring book, is very easy to create. And I'm going to walk you through the process on how to create an interior page like this and like this, which you can use to build up and create one of these books yourself. So if you're looking at creating an income online using your computer, or you want to start your own business or get into self-publishing on Amazon, then follow along as I show you how to create a couple of interior pages for these books. Now, if you've not been to this channel before, then welcome. My name's Paul Miles and I do videos on how to make it, keep it and grow it, and that's your money I'm talking about. And if you do like videos like that, then please do give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell to receive notification of when I produce more videos like this. Now, you might notice a different background. That's because I've moved off the boat and I'm currently in the process of moving and emigrating abroad. So we're going to be looking at a particular type of colouring book that's pretty easy to create and sells well. So I've showed you this example here, and if we look inside, I'll show you what they are composed of. And it is a quote or saying with a patterned background or border that people can colour in. And let's have a look at some more examples out of books that are selling pretty well. Again, you've got this very basic quote and these elements here that people can colour in. And again, you can see some examples here and some examples here. Now, we're going to need three things to create the interior of one of these books. One is software, two is the quote, and three is the pattern background or border. Now, for the software, I'm going to be using Affinity Designer because what we need is software that will edit vectors. Now, vectors are files like .ai files, .svg files, and .eps files. Don't worry too much if that confuses you. But what we need is software that can edit these types of images. So Affinity Designer is what I'm using today, but you can do the same in software like Adobe Illustrator, Inkscape, and Graphic Designer. Now, Inkscape and Graphic Designer are both free, although with Graphic Designer, if you want to upgrade to the Pro version, you do have to pay. Now, the next thing we need is our quote. Now, the best place that I like to go to for quotes is Pinterest, and just entered motivational quote. And you can see here, we've got lots of options. Now, this struck me because it looks very simple. We don't want our pages to be complicated with lots of words. So we're going to go for small steps every day. Now, we want this in a format that looks nice with a nice fancy font that's easy to colour in. So I normally go to a graphics site, a site that sells graphics. Now, there are many sites out there. I'm going to be using Creative Fabrica. They've got fonts, graphics, and also KDP interiors. But you could use other sites like designbundles.net. You could maybe get resources from free sites like Unsplash or Pixabay. I'm not keen on using those because you could potentially have issues with trademark. So I like to get my graphics from places I know that I'll have the license for. So I'm going to go over to Creative Fabrica and just put in small steps every day and see what comes up. And you can see we've got all these options here. Now, with Creative Fabrica, you've got this option here to click on the print on demand box. So now we know that the graphics we're going to be using are graphics that we can use in our books. And this one here looks very good. So I'll click on that and it's got a couple of nice fonts there, these fancy elements, which I'm probably going to delete. So I'm going to download that and drag it into my image editing software. And this is what we have. Now, I want to get rid of these fancy elements. So I'm just going to click on each one and delete them. Now, the next thing we need to do is go and set up our page. So what I've done is created this page in Affinity Designer. Now, this page is going to have no bleed, this particular example. If you're not sure what that means, I'll leave a link to a video down below which explains all of that. So this is going to be an 0.5 by 11 inch page. So this is the document that I've set up here. So what I do is go to the quote that we've just got, put a bounding box around everything, Command C, Control C to copy, and then Command V or Control V to paste. So I'm just going to move that to the middle of the page. Now you can see here that the outline is quite thin. So we're going to go to our stroke tab and just increase the thickness of that like so. And you can see the effect of that. So we're just going to set it at the moment to around 2 points and just enlarge that ever so slightly. So holding down Shift, just drag in one corner. Now, as it's a page with no bleed, we do need to have our content in a margin or in margins. So I'm just going to click on Document Setup and I'm going to click on Margins and set our margins, which for this one, because it's going to be a book for around about 100 pages, is going to have an inside margin of 0.375 inches and outside margins of 0.25 inches. So just click on OK, and you can see this blue border here, which is our margins. Now what I want to do is around the page, I want to create a dark border. You don't have to do that, but I'm just doing that because I like the look of it. So like so. We created our box. Now we just want our fill color here to be white because it's currently gray. So I'm going to click on our fill circle just there and then move the slider to white. And we've got our stroke. So I'm going to click on stroke. Now that is black, so that's good. And I want to make the stroke a bit thicker. So we click on the stroke tab here and just increase the width ever so slightly. Now this is currently covering all our words, so we're just going to drag that layer on the right hand side to below all our words. So now we want our border. Now for this, because it's going to be a motivational quote type page, I'm going to use a floral border. So I normally will then go back to Creative Fabrica and do a search. Now you can do searches for things like, in this example, floral border, floral pattern, floral doodle and floral clip art. Those last two ones are very good as well. And also on something like Creative Fabrica or designbundles.net, you've also got these options here. So you could click on illustrations, patterns, objects. You've also got colouring pages and books here as well as an option. And then just do a search and see what comes up. And again, we've got search for floral doodle. We've got all these options here that we can use on elements of our page. Now we do want these, as I mentioned earlier, in vector formats. So when you do a search, here's another one that I've found. You can see here, it'll tell you what the download options are. And here we've got EPS files and SVG files. So these are vector files that we can use. Now I found these by this artist called Prawny, which I quite like the look of. So I clicked on Prawny and had a look at what else this person has to offer. And there's lots of options here. Now these books can be created in lots of different niches. So you could think about things like gardening or hobbies, sports, or events like Easter, Christmas, Halloween, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, that type of thing. So you could get graphic elements related to whatever niche you're creating a book in. So think about gardening. So you could have like plants as borders, that type of thing. So from this particular publisher, I've chosen this, and it will offer us lots of different border designs. So I'm going to go ahead and download. Again, we've got full print on demand usage allowed, and I'm just going to drag these across into Affinity Designer. So here they are. We have our two floral type borders. So what we need to do now is just bounding box around our image, Command C or Control C to copy, then go to our colouring book page and just Command V or Control V to paste, holding down Shift. I'm just going to reduce that in size and move it to the corner of our page. Just going to increase that slightly. And now you can see this is actually on top of our words. So we're going to just click on that image and in the layers panel, just drag that to below our words. So now you can see that looks a lot better. And we're going to go to our next border element, Command C or Control C to copy, go to our page, Command V, Control V to paste. Again, reduce it in size. Holding down Shift, move that to the top right corner, and then just rotate it. And this time that layer is below our words, so that's good. Now our quote does look a bit small, so I'm just going to hold down Shift and click on each word, and then press Command G to group them. Then holding down Control, I'm just dragging one corner, just increasing the size of our words slightly. So there we've got our page, and I think you'll agree that looks pretty nice. Now I just want to make the stroke size of all our elements the same. So I'm going to click on our border component, click on our quote, click on the other border component, and then go to the stroke tab at the top here, top right hand corner, and then just increase the width and size of everything just to make it look a bit more cohesive. Now that's left our words with a very small stroke, so I'm just going to click on those and just increase the thickness of the stroke there ever so slightly. Okay, so that's our colouring page finished. I think that looks very nice. So now what we need to do is build up the interior of our book, and I do that in Keynote. You can do it in PowerPoint, you could do it in Affinity Publisher or Adobe InDesign. You could even build up the interior in Canva. Now I use Keynote purely because it's a personal preference. I've created all my interiors on Keynote, some on PowerPoint, and I know how to use it, and it's very quick. And I think whatever you decide to use, it doesn't matter, just as long as you know how to use it and get used to using it, so you can speed up the process. So here on Keynote, we've got our blank page, which is 8.5 by 11 inches, and we can create more pages just by going over to the left hand side, Command C to copy, and then Command V or Control V to paste, and you can do that for how many pages you want in your book. So we've got our first page here. So we go back to Affinity Designer, and we can just draw a bounding box around everything. Command C to copy, and go to Keynote and paste. Now we've got an issue if we do just that, in that you can see it no longer respects the margins that we've created. So we need to do one more step. So it's going to delete that, go back to Affinity Designer, and we're going to put an invisible border around everything on the page. So just click on the rectangle tool, start in one corner, just drag down. Now this border that we just created has got a fill and it's got a stroke, which we need to get rid of. So first of all, the stroke. So we click on our stroke button, top right hand corner, and just click on that little icon there. Now we'll get rid of the stroke. Same for the fill, click on fill, click on that little icon there, and it will get rid of the fill. So now we can create a bounding box around all our components again. Control C to copy, go to Keynote, Control V to paste. And now you can see it's left slightly more on the inside margin than the other margins. So that's all set up correctly. Now the next page, page 2, I would often leave blank. Some people make that page black. I'm not keen on that because when it gets printed out on KDP or by Amazon, you often can get sort of little thin white lines in that black page, which I don't like the look of. The reason that's done is just if people are using colouring pens, felt tip pens, colour can sometimes bleed through the page. However, I prefer to leave mine blank. So the next page I would create would then be page 3. Now I'm going to show you quickly how to create another type of page just to give you a different idea. And this is going to be a page with bleed. So the size of this page would be slightly larger. So it'd be 8.625 inches by 11.25 inches. So for this, I'm going to pick a different quote. Here on Creative Fabrica, your only limit is you. So I'm going to download it and get rid of those fancy little elements there and drag it across into Affinity Designer. So now what I'm going to do is I want to produce some plants or trees in the top and bottom border. And we're going to use these from that same publisher, Prawny, because I like the look of these. They're quite simple. And I've downloaded those, and these are all in .eps files, and it's just a case of dragging these across into, in this case, Affinity Designer or whatever you're using. So we'll just drag across this tree here. We're going to hold down to Control and just reduce the size of it, and then we're going to rotate this and take it slightly off the page. Like so. Now you can see again that's on top of our quote, so we're just going to drag that layer down to the bottom. Then we're going to drag in our next component, again holding down Control, reduce the size, rotate it, and just drag it into position like so. Move that one across. Then we'll just drag in this next element, again, move that into position. So that will be our top border, and we can do the same at the bottom, and we end up with our page looking like this. And then we can just draw a border around everything, bounding box, Control C to copy, and go to our page on Keynote. Now remember, when I set up this interior, it's the pages with no bleed. So if I was going to do a book with bleed, or even if there was just one page with bleed, the whole page, all the pages would have to have bleed. So all the pages would be a larger size of 8.625 by 11.25. So after creating all the pages in your book on Keynote or PowerPoint or whatever, you would then have to save that file as a PDF file, which you can then upload direct to the KDP platform. If you're interested in creating a different type of colouring book interior, then watch this video next on how you can create a particular type that's making up to $150 a day. Again, I'll leave all links to resources down below. Thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated. And until next time, goodbye.